people's fundamental principles don't just change like that overnight. So, alright, so the last episode, man, Levi really went total god mode. Man, Zeke thought he really had Levi where he wanted him to be, but gosh, didn't even take up to 30 seconds. He totally just dismantled Zeke, taking him out instantly. Man, I want to feel bad for Zeke, but I can't just excuse all he has done, man. He just keeps doing some crazy shit after another without remorse. I mean, and for Flock, man, I just cannot accept what he's doing. I mean, you can do your revolution without being unnecessarily brutal as Flock is just doing. But hey, it's really sad to see the whole island descend into this chaos with the looming threat that is coming. But hey, alright, so that's what we left off in the last episode. Let's just see how things progresses from here on out. Please don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. So without further ado, let's just hop into this. Onegaishimasu. So this is Attack on Titan season 4 episode 15. Yes.
Yoku mite oke, Zeke. これが私たちの住むレベリオ区だ。世界に比べれば鳥かごみたいに小さい。私たちはここからどこにも行けずに死ぬまでここで暮らさなきゃいけない。
Geisha.
Zeke.
But Geisha really looked handsome though. Can see where Eren gets his total cool looks from. Ah.
おや、珍しい。国お客さんかい。また出直したしや。
いえ、我々はもう。
And having faced all this, gosh, but everybody had just gone through a lot in this show.
ああ、エルディア人か。
何を外出許可を取っているのですよ。
俺はこの塔の清掃員で汚れを落とすのが仕事だ。俺の職場を怪我しやがったな、悪魔め。殺戮の限りを尽くした悪魔の末裔がガキ作って繁殖しやがって。
Now, wow, you can imagine the rhetoric.
収容区から出てくるな。くっせえな。
よく覚えておけよ、ジーク。これが外の世界だ。
I'm just imagining growing up in this form of atmosphere. Gosh, man, your brain will just feel totally messed up. Hi. Soul salvation. Wow, now we get to see things from Zeke's perspective and how everything turned out in depth.
他の子はみんな幼くも必死に名誉マーレ人の称号を得ようと努めているのに、全く何をしにここにいるの。
Man, being forced into all this, Kai.
訓練はどうだ、ジーク。
すごく大変。
でもお前ならきっと戦士になれる。
And this is so wrong. I mean, even from both of them.
お父さんとお母さんの子なんだから。
To be bad enough being just from one person, but from both parents, that's just insane.
ジークの好物のパイを焼いたよ。やったー。
社交だけは寂しがっているぞ。
でも僕はレベリオの健康を守りたいんだ。
私たちのやってきたことをジークも分かってくれる。
If only they waited for him to just grow up and get to grasp things himself before forcing all these things upon him.
はこの日のうちに消滅し、侵攻を続けた巨人によってモンテノが繰り広げられ、何十万ものマーレ人がエルディア帝国に殺された。なんとか逃れた難民は道なき荒野をさまよった。
And it's not just his parents, even the grandparents too. Everybody with their own form of brainwashing. Plus the environment and everything else.
分かった。人がいっぱい死んだんでしょ。
お父さんはちゃんと正しい歴史を教えているか?
And for this age, or rather at this age that Zeke is at, being able to just play both sides as if he's giving a crap of what they are talking about, man. Quite smart though.
僕は戦士になりたい。
His expression says something different.
さあ、もう寝ないとな。
そうだ。今度はね。
He's just telling them all they want to hear.
やった。
No joy anywhere. Oh. At least even with the crappy situation they were in, at least some people were still having a good time growing up to some extent, at least at home, until they got out of the walls and it becomes something else. While this guy got
たく
this,
さん勉強できるな。
no time,
つまり
no siblings,
ザーゴ
just you
の
with
惨劇
all
は存在
this.
しなかったんだ。そのような残虐な文化や風習はなく、何より
始祖ユミル様がそのようなことを望まないのでありえない。
Hmm.
分かってきたな、ジーク。
やる気のない者は去れ。マーレは祖国に全てを捧げる覚悟のある者を求めているのだ。お前のようなエルディア人に我が国の巨人を委ねられるわけがないだろう。
Shy.
おい、魚君、そのボール投げて
I think he could have totally lost it though, with all this pressure from all angles and disappointment
まだ小さいのに
if he didn't meet this dude.
ほらナイスキャッチ。壁相手も飽きたところだ。ちょっとおじさんに付き合ってくれないか。
赤い腕章、あなたは。
君たちが目指すマーレの戦士だ。もっとも私の獣の巨人はあまり戦争の役に立たないからここで玉遊びなんかしてるんだけど。トム・クサバ
Tom Sava,
研究者だ。
Titan Research.
君の名前は？
ジーク・イエーガーです。
おお、ジーク、どうも君は筋がいいな。きっとピッチャーに向いてるぞ。
First time is at least hearing something different in the form of a good compliment.
どうなってるんだ。
And then you come back to this atmosphere.
だが、フクロウが言うには、巨人の継承者選びに介入するには、好成績を残さないと。分かっている。もうこんなチャンス、100年待ったって来ないってこと。そうだとも、ジークなら。
ごめんなさい。
ジーク、
Oh, that's Grice. I think Grice, that's
母さんの子供なんだからな。
that's Falco's. Let's say is his uncle or his dad or so. Every time I remember, but they didn't specifically say though, although they hinted at it
公
indirectly,
開訓練に参加させてください。
and even from his looks again.
何をしているイーガー。走れ、走らんか。
言わないで。あの子は一生懸命頑張ったでしょ。
Alright.
この間散々だったな。
ことじゃないよ。あれからずっと雑用係をやらされて、もう僕はおしまいだ。
そんなに戦士になりたいようには見えなかったがな。
Exactly.
ならなきゃいけないんだ。
Mm.
全然ダメだった。
無理もない。君は戦士なんてバカらしかったんだ。マーレのために寿命を縮め、他国を侵略するなんて、バカらしくてやってられないよな。
Couldn't you get killed for that?
草はさんは
Well,
なん
he
で
didn't even look at his surroundings before saying such.
私は研究者だからね。始祖ユミルが何かと接触したことから始まるらしいが、私はその時に起きたことを知りたいのさ。寿命を縮めてでも巨人の記憶を探ろうと思うほどにね。そんなことだから戦争じゃからっきしの役立たずだ。だが巨人の神秘の前に憎しみや争いもくだらないよ。
Maybe it was because of his tendencies and maybe his intellect to research and whatnot that they didn't eat him long before now, seeing that he wasn't really useful in battle.
これでよかったんだ。ずっと収容区から出られなくたって、生きてさえいれば。
This man just gave him a bit of hope. We all need that, at least just somebody that can just give us some good compliments and just outside all the normal toxic atmosphere that we're used
す
to.
でにいくつか目星はついている。僕を揃えていけば時間の問題だな。
ジーク、どうしたの？早く食べなさい。
お腹がちょっと。
How can he eat after everything that they have pushed upon him? Just look at this. I'll just leave the dining table.
お父さん、もう危ないことはしないで。
Well, I'm sure he always wanted to say that
見つかって
for the longest time
みんな
now.
送りなんだよ。悪魔の島に送られて、みんな巨人に。
お前は今まで父さんから何を学んだんだ。立ち上がらない限り、みんなずっとこの狭い壁の中で惨めに。
And how they just insert this stomach rumbling loud sound in the background is just insane.
そのためなら僕はフェイおばさんみたいになってもいいの。
そもそもフェイが殺されたのはこの世界が狂っているからだ。もう誰もフェイのような目に合わせないためには戦わなくてはいけない。強いエルディアをマーレから当たり前の権利を勝ち取るんだ。
The wrongest way to be a parent is what Grisha was doing right here.
ってことだ。親が不敬派だったなんて。このままじゃ親族全員楽園送りに。
キャッチボールしてくれてありがとう。巨人になっても時々思い出すからね。
And he didn't want to rat them out at first.
これしかない。
But this dude,
自らマーレ当局に告発することでマーレに忠誠を示せば君とソンは助かるはずだ。
そんなできないよ。
ジーク、君は両親からひどいことをされた。
well, but even though I don't really support this, this is the worst of all snitching you can ever do. Snitch on your parents.
ジーク、君は悪くない。
It would have been best if he had just left the house, saying that he already had a connection with Sava. I don't know, but that would seem suspicious though.
もう少し手加減してくれよ、ジーク。
ああ、もう年寄りにはきついか。
こら、まだそんな年。
All grown. And looks like his time is almost up.
もうすぐ継承の任期を終える頃だ。
そうだね。
あー
なかったが、研究に打ち込めたこと
That's the Annie, Ryan, and the
最後に
rest.
集大成を発表できそうだ。
どんなことが分かったの？
使徒の巨人がユミルのためにもたらした様々な影響について。
ああ、記憶を操作するとかいうあれ？
体の構造も変えてしまうことができるんだ。600年ほど前、世界の人口が激減するほどの疫病が猛威を振るった時代があった。ある日を境にエルディア帝国からその病は消滅した。始祖の巨人の力でユミルの民の体の設計図を書き換えたんだよ。まさに私たち
But that's an insane ability.
どこにいようと始祖の巨人の一部のようなものなんだ。
Part of the founding titan. Connected through the path.
じゃあさ、
どうしてまた悪魔を生んだ？
That's what I said. Things like that really mess
ユミ
someone's
ル
head
の
up.
民が子供を産めなくすることもできるのかな。もしこれ以上ユミルの民が生まれてこなければ100年後にはこの世から巨人は消
And
滅している。
it brings forth this type of conclusion.
巨人の脅威に怯えたり苦しめられたり
That's
す
why
る
he just kills them without remorse.
そもそも僕らは生まれてこなければ苦しまなくてよかったんだ。草葉さん。
話して
I
な。
wonder if the voice actor for Zeke
私には
right here is the same voice actor at present, because I can slightly hear his voice, but it's not really that bassy as the normal Zeke of the present time, you know.
マーレ人だったんだ。いつまでも騙し通せるわけもなく、私がエルディア人だと知った妻は自分と息子の喉を裂いて死んだ。
Man, everybody has a total brutal story.
贅沢な自殺の方法に飛びついたに過ぎない。だがこの13年間は巨人の研究に没頭し、君と出会いキャッチボールをして楽しかった。
God, man.
亡き息子を君に求め、巨人の力で自分の罪から逃れようとした。私だってこの世に生まれてこなければ。
So they came to the same conclusion. Hi.
マーレのためじゃない。始祖奪還計画を成功させ、世界を救ってみせるよ。世界の
Save
人
the
々を
world.
巨人の恐怖から解き放ち、エルディア人を苦しみから解放するんだ。
Everyone with their own ideas of saving the world.
これはマーレに伝えていない情報なんだが、付箋のちぎりを打ち破る方法だ。図らずともジーク、それは君だからこそ可能になる。
Where's this team coming from, though?
その巨人の継承者と接触することにより、その能力を引き出すことができるはずだ。しかし、力を使えるのは君じゃない。決定権は始祖の保有者に委ねられる。 いわば君の役割は鍵だ。
The key.
誰か信頼できる者に
Master key.
始祖を託すんだ。私たちの安楽死計画を理解してくれる誰かに君ならきっと見つけられる。
Now just look at them.
私はいつでも見守っているからな。
Man, but
ジーク。
they really got amazing build, man. Zeke and I mean, Eren and the rest of them. But hey, they have been training for so long, so it's quite fitting.
はい。エレンは始祖の巨人の保有者です。そして、エレンの生まれ育ったシガンシナ区の家の地下室には、何か重大な情報があるとのことでした。その、エレンから父親の話を何か聞いたか？
確か
Just to be
彼
sure.
は行方不明で医者をやってたと聞きました。
But I wonder how that started clicked that might be his dad or that is his dad. I mean, to him.
俺たちは被害者だ。お前はあの父親に洗脳されている。
Okay, maybe his son name. His son.
救い出してやるからな。
Here we go.
少し父親と似てきたようだ。
But it's really insane, like looking past all Zeke has done and all, and coming to talk to him like this.
俺の考えはイエレナから聞いた通り、エルディア人安楽死計画に賛同してくれるのか。
4年前、あることをきっかけに親父の記憶が開いた。親父が壁の王家一家を皆殺しにした時の記憶だ。子供たちを虫みたいに潰して回った。その子たちが生きていれば、始祖の巨人は王家の手に渡り、不戦のちぎりに縛られたまま立ち壁ない人類は心中を迫られただろう。子供たちの死が俺たちを生かした。
父親は正しかった。そう思ったのか。
いいや、親父は間違っている。その親父に育てられた俺も間違いだった。エルディア人が生まれてこなければ、この町の住民もこれから俺たちの計画に巻き込まれて死ぬことはなかった。この世に生まれないことはこれ以上の。
But now this statement is a stark contrast to all Eren had been saying in the past seasons, so it just really didn't seem right.
その日を迎えるまで進
And
み
I
続
just couldn't totally believe what he was saying. I just knew he was not really being honest here.
ああ、その通りだ。やろう。
Because all he had said was, you know, we've been blessed since the day we were born. So him saying this now is just off. You know, people's fundamental principles don't just change like that overnight. So
必ずみんなを救ってあげよう。
you can't just be believing things like this, is it? But quite the step though, dear. Saying what Zeke wanted to hear.
エルディアの安楽死。
なんつった安楽死。お前はこれからくせえ巨人の口の中で、お前にしちゃ随分と安らかな死に方だろう。奪った仲間たちの命に比べてみれば。
奪ってない。救ってやる。
And that's what he has just been echoing in his head since with all the people that he had been brutally killing.
この残酷な世界から。
Yikes.
また
So
足
what,
を
man?
伸びてって
Everyone is brutal in this shoujo, one way or the other. Gosh, man. Fuck. No fucking way, man. Oh, gosh. That totally split Zeke in half. Ah! Man, Attack on Titan. Huh. Wow. Gosh, man, what a way to end the episode. Like, I have to say, after everything that we have seen them do and know about Titans, it's quite insane that Levi is actually carrying Zeke like this with a thunder spear so close, like in so close proximity. Well, I get that he actually underestimated Zeke's resolve to off himself because he felt that Zeke didn't have it in him. Like, you know, before now he has always been saying Zeke is a coward, you know, that cowardly bastard and whatnot. So that didn't really just occur to Levi that Zeke would totally want to off himself in this manner. Like, well, I get that, but still, man, he shouldn't have put the thunder spear in his stomach whatsoever. Like, that shouldn't have even been there. Seeing how they even use it in combat, how they are very careful with it, and how very small shrapnel can just like cause the largest amount of damage, and he's putting a whole full-on thunder spear there so close, and any slight movement from Zeke would have triggered it, which we just saw right now that Zeke just totally offed himself and well catching Levi to off guard, man. Anyway, I'll still come back to this though. Let's just take it from the beginning. Well, oh well, man, Gosha was really not good to Zeke at all. Man, you don't just force certain things on your children, like such as this. At least let them grow up and figure things out for themselves. Then maybe you can hint one or two to them after they might have figured out what they actually want to do. Let them get the fuel and the desire on their own rather than just you trying to force this upon them and just kind of ruin their childhood in this manner. Like, this was quite insane. Yes, the whole atmosphere has already been toxic and really difficult already, and then coming home to this, not just from one parent, but from Grisha and also from the mom. I mean, it's really quite sad. Really quite sad. But still, man, snitching on your parents, that is another level of craziness. Like, it's quite mind-blowing. Like, that is something that shouldn't even be considered to being done. I think the best thing for Zeke would have just been to leave the house and not come back. Like, stay with your Malayan new role model, which is Sava. You should have just gone to stay with him. But I think that would have raised a bit of suspicion though. But that would have been a better option rather than snitching on your own parents. Like, that's just super freaking mind-blowing. And Sava just totally, well, everybody has their own reasons for doing what they're doing. Everybody's just like being somehow selfish in one way or the other, just like Sava here seeing his own son in Zeke and whatnot. Hence the reason why he opted for Zeke to snitch on his parents, saying that his parents were never good to him, which is a bit of a half-truth though to some extent anyway, but really giving him only that the option instead of him saying he should have just left entirely. But I don't know if he had left and maybe they had caught Grisha and the wife later on their own, that is the Malians, they have come to take out Zeke. I don't know, they would have felt that he knew and he failed to report, and maybe they would have roped him in too, so maybe I don't know, maybe just snitching on them would have been the only option, but man, still it's I can't just accept that. Like, it's really quite insane. I'm just trying to imagine it in a realistic scenario. Snitching on your parents, that's not something that anyone should do, like, at all. To me, it's just totally unacceptable though. But hearing Sava's backstory, almost everyone's backstory here, their experiences is just so heart-touching, so brutal, and it's really just messes one's head and brings them to a crazy conclusion. Like how they're concluding that castrating the whole Eldians is the solution to end all this madness and whatnot, and really is what has driven Zeke in just killing people without remorse and just saying it is their soul salvation, like as the title of the episode says. So it's quite sad, Joe. Every nook and cranny of Attack on Titan story is just really sad and just quite terrible, I must say. Man, oh man. Alright, so back to Zeke and Levi. So man, gosh, that Thunder Spear shouldn't have been put in Zeke at all. Like, Levi could have conveyed Zeke without needing the Thunder Spear. Like, he could just read in his horse and continue with his limb slicing as he was already doing. I mean, there was no need for the Thunder Spear. Well, I'll just say here that was just their way of taking Levi out of the equation, because I don't think there's anything the Jaegerists would have done if Zeke was around that would have worked if he was there. So I think that's the way to just, foster the Jaegerists' effort and whatnot by nerfing out Levi. Okay, yeah. Man, but it's still shocking. Anytime I look at this, I just really shake my head. I wasn't expecting that it would be like this, that they would want to remove Levi out of the equation. It's still really shocking, and just when I think about it, I was like, whew, my brain gets cooked. Anyway, that will be that for this, man. Gosh. And once more, Eren really just telling Zeke what he wanted to hear there is really just insane. There was no way that I believe what Eren was saying, because many times, all the way from season 1 up until the last season, he had always maintained that we have been special since the day we were born. So now saying that it would have been better off if we were not born, I was like, that's no way. Like, it doesn't just fit with his ideals up until now. And as I said before, people's fundamental principles don't just change overnight. Once you have been built up and had a certain form of idealistic conviction up to a certain age, it doesn't just change for any reason. So that's why when he said that, I was like, okay, this guy is heavily going to play Zeke. That's just what came to my mind instantly. Okay. Anyway, that'll be that for this episode. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe button and tell me what you thought of all this. Alright, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.